Hey, good morning and welcome. Happy Hump Day. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. And you know our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And, man, what another 24 hours, another huge, huge day for the gold and silver markets. Silver started the week, and it wasn't even $20. Right now, almost $23. Silver, $22.65, up another dollar. What is it, $1.15? Gold's up another $20 here, $18.64 on gold right now. Just dollars away from its previous all-time high. And getting ready to take that number out. And again, we've talked about this a lot over the last week, heading to much, much higher levels. The Wall Street is mixed right now. The Dow is up, the NASDAQ's down, but not a lot in either direction. Again, I need everybody to keep Eric in your prayers. It's going to be tough. I'll just leave it at that. Please pray for him. I know that he's been battling this COVID, and it's just keep him in your prayers, please, for me. Just let's hope he pulls through. Glenn, are you with us? We're joined. I think Glenn's with us. Glenn, are you here?
I am here, and yeah, absolutely, definitely need to be praying for Eric, and we're so glad you're back. And boy, you're right.
I'm actually in the studio today. Arlene had some things that she had to do, so my wife and I are here at the office. It's the first time I've actually been in the office in a month. So the 1 month ago is when my COVID journey started. Happy to be back. A lot of shipping needs to be done. We've got gold and silver coming in all directions, all over the world, coming towards Phoenix and Colorado. So if you have orders placed with us, they are going to be going out here in the next 24 to 48 hours. The only thing that's going to take a little bit, the people, silver quarters, those just left. They're on their way here. Those probably won't get here until Monday. Same thing in Colorado. But all the gold stuff should be in before the weekend, and it's going to go right out. So everybody's going to be all caught up here. And what a crazy world we're living in, Glenn. It's truly, truly hard to imagine how things could get to where they are today. You know, the president was out yesterday saying, hey, things could get worse. I'm hopeful that in Arizona, at least, that maybe the worst of it is behind us. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it, but last week the numbers were a little bit lower than they were the week before, and so far this week, the numbers were even a little lower, still above about 3,000 cases a day, give or take, here in Arizona. But that's an improvement. I mean, we were doing over 4,000 today. Glad we didn't even get to 2,000 today. 1,926 new cases here in Arizona. So things appear anyway, at least here in the Valley of the Sun, that maybe the worst of the COVID is behind us.
Yeah, depending on where you look. I mean, on certain websites, they say that the count is 12 times higher than what's actually being reported. But then you had the Florida labs that got busted with the decimal point moving it over. So it was like 90% positive rate when it was actually 9.7. So it's a lot of disinformation out there. You've already talked about that so bad with the mainstream media, how bad the reporting is. And, yeah, we all know that. And what's interesting, I did catch something this morning that Pfizer has been awarded a $2 million or billion dollar contract by the government to produce a couple of billion. And a lot of people hasn't even been proven yet.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know this, and I'm glad you actually brought that up. And I've been meaning to talk about it, and just I forget. And and I just don't get to it. The pharmaceuticals, especially the ones that are working on any type of treatment. I'm not going to call it a vaccine because that's not what that is. That's an outright lie. When you think vaccine, you think I'm going to go and get a shot like for mumps or polio, and I'm never going to get it. That's not what this coronavirus vaccine thing is. This is more of a treatment thing than anything else. But before I get too far into the weeds, the government is paying these companies to do all of this. And they're advancing them billions and billions of dollars to do the research, to come up with it. As Glenn was talking about, you got all these companies talking about making the vials of vaccines and making hundreds of millions and billions of vials of vaccine. Well, there isn't even a vaccine yet. And, of course, what they're doing is they're making the vials. I mean, they're getting ready to do this. And how are they doing it? Well, they're doing it because the government's paying them to do it. It's not out of the kindness of their hearts and all of that. And we've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of talk of a lot of these companies saying, hey, we're not going to make any money out of this. We're going to do it at cost or whatnot. I hope that part is true. But nonetheless, something that a lot of people may not know, all of these companies working on this quote-unquote vaccine are getting prepaid by the government. So there you go. There you have it. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. (800-951-0592). Frustrating week for us as far as silver goes. Just not available yet. I'm anticipating that the silver market is going to start opening up here. Silver now near the highs of the day at almost $23 to the ounce. And I think that's the remedy, right? To get a more balanced market, we'll get some people willing to part with some of their silver as the price continues to rise. But as of this morning, no luck. I mean nothing. Right? Not a dime, a quarter, a half dollar, a bar. I mean, it's just completely gone. And it's, you sit there as a guy, hey, this is how we make our living. I make a living selling gold and silver. When you can't sell silver, I mean, it can be awfully frustrating. We can get it, and I guess I can get it, but what I have to pay for it and what you would have to pay just doesn't add up. Right now, like a silver eagle, I could actually get you a silver eagle for like $33. And I'm just not willing to do it. Just thinking here that the market will open up, and when it does, you'll be the second to know because I'll be the first. The gold markets, I've been warning all week. It's gone. Product is gone. I'm getting emails now, 2 and 3 a day from companies, wholesalers out there soliciting, hey, we're buying. Do you have any product? And we need slabbed, and we need unslabbed. We need, jewelry. We need this. We need that. I mean, you name it. Everybody's in need right now. Of course, we've got big roots. We've been doing this for 25 years. So we every day try to have some product available for you. Right now, gold's making a move. Is today going to be the day the all-time high falls? Right now, gold's up now $25, 1868, 1869, as we're closing in on a new all-time record high in U.S. dollars. Of course, we're the last of the majors to get there. But today, it may be the day today. So we're looking at that 1880 level. And that is the closing high. And, of course, 1900 is the intraday high. And, again, this is the highest the gold price has been outside of maybe about now at this level here, less than 24 hours. because the day that gold closed at that all-time high, the very next day, gold was actually below 1,800. This is the last of the three legs. I've told you about those three legs that in the course of, I think it was like 5 days, gold fell over 400 points from 1,900. And this was the last leg of it, or well, this was the first leg. This leg was in 2011. 2011 was the start. This was the first day where gold was down over $100, and now we're closing that gap here. It's about closed. Now we'll start talking about all-time highs. Obviously, the easy number 2,000. Right. Okay. When will you see chances? I guess chances for profit taking. Right. And I guess that's what they like to call it. Right. Oh, they're taking profits and all that stuff. I think once we break the all-time high, 2,000 is it. There's nothing there. Obviously, right. Gold will have never have been that high. So you can have any different factor involved in it. If there's no pullback at 2,000, and you just don't know, right? You just don't know when is it going to catch. Does it catch 2,000 and we have like some horrible news? That, I don't know, Florida shut down and Disney World shut down or this or that or whatever it may be. On a bad news cycle day, it'll blow right through it and keep going. And then you start looking at probably $100 increments. Okay, well, if it didn't fall at 2, will it fall at 21? Will it fall at 22? And these are all short-term things. The longer term, I've already said yesterday, we're looking at 2,500, to 3,000 is kind of where I think gold's going to be before the end of the year. Silver, I was saying $25. That's not enough. I mean, silver, $30 easily could be there right now. When you look at where gold's at, silver, just to be fairly priced in the gold and silver ratio. By the way, that ratio is down to 83 ounces today. 83 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold. But silver would have to be almost $29 today. So silver at $23. By the way, there it is. Silver up $1.50. Wow. Just turned my back for a second. Silver just jumped another 25 cents here. $22.93. This is the July contract for silver. $22.93. And I'm sitting there and I'm telling you, hey, I could get you Silver Eagles at $33 because everybody in the silver market knows silver should be $30 an ounce. $29 and change, with gold sitting right near $1,900. But right now, once the silver catches up to gold, I think the markets will balance themselves and hopefully we'll have some product. I will say this. I believe that we're going to have issues with product, at least for the foreseeable future. As gold hits new highs, the charts open up. I think we're going to see a big run. I think, and again, you're talking about another $600 in gold in less than 6 months. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of ground to cover. But with the all-time highs falling, all these computer models take over. The computers start buy, and you can see gold really take off. So it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be hit and miss. When we run specials, buy them. I guess that's probably as simple as we can do it. We had those $10 Liberties yesterday. We sold the you-know-what out of them. They're sold out. Last week, I know that at least 2 of the days, the specials that we had were sold out. And that's just keep adding to your portfolios, keep paying attention to what's going on in the marketplace. Tomorrow, I'm going to do the dollar show. So I've been teasing it. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about why is gold going, why is gold running, and it's running because it's a dollar play now. The dollar, again, down again today, really trying to get to a level that, warrants, a country that's going to go $4 and $5 trillion into debt, Glenn. They can't afford to have a strong dollar. They can't have a strong currency. When you're going to take on that much debt, you want that currency to be as weak as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We talked about trust yesterday, Joe, and today's also National Rat Catcher Day, and they caught a big one in Ohio. I don't know if you saw this or not, but the Republican leader of their House got caught in a $60 million bribery scheme on a $1.3 bailout initiative for 2 nuclear power plants in his state. And, once again, it's government picking winners and losers, just like, Pfizer got the payout today. And every morning when you watch the idiot box, this company got this company got that, back when Obama was in, it was solar and green energy, and now it's this and that, it never ends, and it's taxpayer money. Okay, $1.3 billion for a state. Now, all these states are coming to the government saying, hey, we need a bailout. Well, they've got money to throw at nuclear power plants, and they've got $60 million coming into their own pockets. Once again, it just erodes trust, and it's not a good thing to have in this country once again, our dollar, if our dollar is losing value, that means that there's a trust issue in the dollar. And if people aren't showing up to buy the treasury bonds, that's a trust issue. We talked about that yesterday. So that is key. The dollar will be the dollar as long as people have trust in it. And then you have all these competing currencies. This is why people are flocking to gold and silver, because it's an alternative to the dollar. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against the Fed devaluing your money 2% every year. Joe?
Yeah, and when we look at all of this play out, gold now 1871 now, 1871, so we're getting real close here to a new all-time high. Silver, like I said, silver's up $1.50 again today. Just amazing what little brother can do when he decides he wants to do it. And you just start thinking about all the money we've already spent on the COVID, right? And again, we can argue back and forth, and I feel fortunate to be here. I mean, I just hope and pray for Eric to be here, but shutting down the country isn't the answer. And again, I will tell you right now, I am very disappointed in the president in our COVID preparations. Just way lacking. It needed to be better. It wasn't better. And we need to focus on opening everything and focusing on, if you do get sick, you're going to get the best care possible. I mean, I think that's the solution. That's my solution, right? The best care possible. But you can't lay off 30 million people. And here's the problem. The number of people who filed claims is like 52 million. Now, some of them are back working, but we got even more like Briggs & Stratton filed for bankruptcy. Joseph A. Bank, Men's Warehouse, that whole group, they're all owned by the same company. They're going to shut 500 stores, and the list just goes on every day. There's another company out, LinkedIn, right? That's all the professionals. You go on LinkedIn, and it's a way to have your resume out there and make connections, and it's all about networking and all that. They just laid off 1,000 people, and you're seeing all of the even the companies like Facebook and all that are driving this market. Right? Companies are pulling advertising like crazy because they don't have any business. We had existing home sales today. Existing home sales. Now, it rebounded 20%, which was great. But year over year is down almost 12%. That's recession/depression type numbers to be down that big. And you just look around, right? Boeing. Hey, they're running out of space for these planes that nobody wants to buy because they can't fly them. And you're like, well, how's that going to work? Nobody's flying anyway. Every day I think it was Southwest Airlines, 17,000 employees took the buyout, Glenn. And why did they take the buyout? They took the buyout because they knew, well, I'm not going to have a job. Nobody's flying, right? The numbers, they're hard to imagine. Same thing, you think about the hotel industry, and you think about Las Vegas, and you think about conventions, and you think about weddings and big get-togethers. They're all canceled. All these companies that would spend on team building and all those other things, that's all gone.
Yeah, and Joe, Boeing had another black eye today. There was a 777 caught fire at some international airport, and that doesn't look good. That's like when a Tesla crashes and catches on fire. People are like, oh, I don't want to buy that. And that Briggs and Stratton thing is huge, Joe. When you're talking about, I'm around a lot of equipment, and it's either a Honda engine or a Briggs and Stratton engine. That's your push mowers, that's your log splitters. That's anything that's a small gas engine.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, any small engine.
Yeah.
We'll be back right after the break.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a national volunteer organization founded by Phyllis Schlafly and continuing to uphold her legacy by honoring family values, opposing radical feminism, and representing a conservative perspective in our nation's capital. Now, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
Judicial supremacists are judges who believe their personal opinions about the way the system should work are worth more than the way the system actually does work. Federal District Court Judge Fred Beery is a prime example of judicial supremacy at work. In the case Texas Democratic Party v. Abbott, Judge Beery imposed mail-in voting on the entire state of Texas with absolutely no legal ground to stand on. Of course, mail-in voting is a terrible process fraught with fraud. You don't hear about it in the news, but prosecutions for voter fraud happen all the time. Mail-in voting is often the target of these schemes because it's a whole lot easier to vote illegally on someone's behalf if you don't have to actually go to a physical location to make the impersonation. However, the mail-in voting problem is not the most outrageous aspect of this case. What makes Judge Fred Beery think he has the absolute right to tell the people of Texas how they can run their elections? He didn't have any legal precedent to cite. He just defaulted to platitudes like this one. Quote, citizens should have the option to choose voting by letter carrier versus voting with disease carriers, end quote. Even if COVID-19 were concerned with voting, that's a decision to be made by the people's representatives, not unelected judges. Yet Judge Beery thinks his opinion is supreme over the opinion of the people. Judge Beery went further, writing this, quote, we the people get just about the government and political leaders we deserve, but deserve to have a safe and unfettered vote to say what we get, end quote. How hypocritical can this judge get? He claims to make his decision to preserve the voice of the people in governance, yet he himself is not an elected representative of the people of Texas. On top of this, he's opening the floodgates to a rash of voter fraud that will further invalidate the voice of the people. Judicial supremacists often sound high and lofty in their grandiose black-robe diatribes, but they are a direct threat to the foundational principles our nation was built upon.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Can activist judges be stopped, or will they continue to overturn laws with no regard for the Constitution or the will of the people? Connect with us at phyllisschlafly.com to hear alerts on rulings made by never-elected supremacist judges and to share your viewpoint. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Hey, welcome back, Patriot Radio News Hour. By the way, I need to thank all the listeners out there. I mean, I came back to the office today. I've got cards and letters, and I can't even tell you. I don't even know how many emails wishing Eric and I well, and I just want to take a moment to thank all of you guys for that. And again, please keep Eric in your prayers, and let's hope we can help him get through this. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. And I got Eric on my brain right now. I can't stop thinking about him. And thinking about the meeting that we had here. It wasn't even that long ago, where Eric, and I told the story last week, where he called me on a Friday about, needing to get back into the gold business and blah, 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 blah. And we had a meeting here on Saturday, and Eric was telling me what's going to happen. And I told you the story about when he made the General Motors call that General Motors was going to go to zero. The stock was $42. We just moved into this office, so it was 05, and I'm all upset because I'm like, we're trying to be serious guys here, and not that Eric's ever all that serious, but making these outrageous claims, you can't do that. And he's like, that's what's going to happen, And over the years, anybody that's ever listened to Eric, he has a gift to see things that others don't. And I just want to remind you, there's $20,000 gold, right? He thinks Wall Street, and he's been saying it all along, hey, Wall Street's going to rally for a while because they're just printing money like crazy. The problem is all the money's going into like 7 stocks, right? Amazon and Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, and Tesla. By the way, Tesla's going to report earnings, I think, after the bell today. And I think they're going to report a profit, but it is the hokiest profit you've ever seen, Glenn. You talk about government picking winners and losers. The rebates, I guess, for lack of a better term, that are given to Tesla from the government, it's incredible. They don't really come anywhere close to making any money. They really don't. Until the government makes them make money. And you never hear that part on the TV. I've been watching a lot of TV because I've been banished to my house under quarantine. So I've watched way more TV than I care to admit. But every time they talk about Tesla stock, they never bring that up. And I'm thinking to myself, why is that? Why don't we just flat out say, listen, Tesla doesn't really make money. It doesn't. Until the government gives them, and I'll call them rebates. I don't know what else to call them. The government just hands them money. And then, look, we made a bunch of money. And then now the stock's like at some ridiculous price. And what do you do? You know what I'm saying, Glenn? I mean, what are you to do?
Yeah, well, I think if they were able to show a profit for this whole year, they can get on the S&P. I think that's their ultimate goal. But yeah, you're right. It's all about the winners and losers being picked by the government, and here's the other thing, Joe. There's last night on the Tucker Carlson show I was watching, they showed these ethnic Uyghurs in China being herded onto a train in chains, and these people are working at 70 to 80 different U.S. government or U.S. company subsidiaries in China. Basically, it's like the Nazi Holocaust where they're working at the work camps, and as long as the stock price goes up and we get a dividend, positive dividend, no one cares. It's just the way this interconnected world is right now. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. What do you think about that? I mean, that was just incredible.
Well, and this is something we've seen it over and over and over again. You go all the way back to NAFTA and GATT. Really, you go all the way back to the Reagan era, supply side economics. With Larry Kudlow, and really, you can just see where the deficit started to explode. The only reason why the deficit didn't really explode in the 80s and the 90s was because they were taking the money from Social Security. When I came to Patriot, the national debt was only $5 trillion. That's it. Now I say only. Now in reality, it should have been over $8 trillion, which still wouldn't have been that much. But when you really look at all of the things that we've done, you think about all the tax cuts for all these businesses. You think about us essentially paving the way through our 401ks of paying them to leave the country. And you got to remember, when they write this legislation, it's these companies that write them. It's their lobby groups that write the legislation. And so we should have known with NAFTA and GATT what was really going to happen, which was, hey, listen, we want to leave the United States. Obviously, we want to tap into the 1.4 billion Chinese market, but also we want cheap labor. We want cheap this. We want to be able to raise our stock price and do all that stuff. And they did. And they didn't care. Care that China was communist. They didn't care that China hates our guts, and they don't care about, their human rights policies and all. They don't care about any of that stuff. Right? They just care about the bottom line. And now here we sit in this new world here where I don't know what we're going to do with all these waiters and waitresses and bartenders, Glenn. I really don't. I mean, where are all these people going to go? I mean, 30 to 40% of all the bars and restaurants are not going to reopen.
Yeah, and
that's not a fallacy number. That's not some pie in the sky. That's the reality. They're not going to reopen.
And they're going to get a universal basic income.
They're getting ready to close, Glenn.
Right, and they're going to get a UBI, a universal basic income. That's what it's going to happen. There's going to be more stimulus put out there, whether you call it the $600 unemployment, whatever. It's going to find its way in to pay people not to work. Is the way it's going to happen. I mean, it's just, and you see this all over the place when you disincentivize work, when it's easier to stay home than to go back. That's what's going to happen. And as long as people are getting a little bit of money put into their paycheck where they can still go buy the basic things that they have, they're going to put up with it because they've been scared into staying home by the government. And it's still happening out there. Wear your mask, social distance. Walk this way down an aisle at Walmart. They heard you in this way. They heard you in that way. I mean, it's ridiculous. All these different conditioning. And I know that you probably have to do this to stop the spread, but also it's also conditioning to get people, and let the coin shortage, whether there is or there isn't. I'm still conducting my unscientific survey, and it's amazing the discrepancies between businesses on coins. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Patriot Radio News Hour on a hump day.
800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Double J, Joe Jaquid, along with the professor, Glenn Biddle, here on this Wednesday. Gold just dollars away from a new all-time record high. And again, I think once it falls, I think 2,000 is probably the first chance at maybe a pullback. And again, there's no reason to pull back. That's the problem. Any pullback's going to be short. Kind of like this is what we've seen, especially in the last 6 months on gold. Any pullback, it's short. It doesn't last very long, and you get higher highs. We've gotten a really distinct pattern of higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. Normally what would happen is we'll break the all-time record high here. Like I said, we're dollars away from it. We'll run up to a number. 19 and a quarter, 1950, maybe 2000, somewhere in there. Somewhere early on in that, we should get a pullback at least intraday. I don't even know if it'll last a day, where we at least go back to the old all-time high, test it, hold it, and then rally back again. And that's kind of what I see happening. I don't think it's going to be a very long. I think it's going to be, like I said, I even said intraday. That's if I was to, I'll use, hey, put a gun to my head. I think it's going to be an intraday pullback where they just say, yep, we tested it. Now that's the new support. And then we go to these all-time highs. I think we break 2,000. When we break 2,000, I think it'll go back to 2,000. That'll be the new support, and again, on its way up higher highs, higher lows, and when you think about the amount of spending that's still yet to come, they're talking about $1 trillion, and that's just for, hey, maybe we're going to give everybody a check. There's debate about the unemployed. They're not going to give you $600, but maybe they're going to give you $200 or $300. I don't know. States need money for schools and money for this, money for that. Money. Pick all the winners. And then remember, the president wants the payroll tax cut on top of that. So that's another $1 trillion. So it's really a $2 trillion package already. And by the time to get the Democrats on board, I'm thinking at least it's going to be at least $3 trillion. And I think that's worth, in my opinion, I think that's worth it hundreds of dollars in gold. I think that's worth $300 or $400 more dollars in the gold price. And who knows, that may not be enough because, that puts the debt, another $3 trillion puts the debt at $30 trillion. Just think about how fast that happened and what that's going to do to Social Security and Medicare. I told you, I warned you about that in the previous show. Here's what we've got today. Listen, I've got 100 $20 gold pieces. These are these are what they call VFs. These are very fine. They're a little nicer than the stuff, and we carry nice stuff than we normally carry. They're $2,150, and I've only got 100 of them. I can't replace them. When we're talking about where gold is headed, this is still great value at $2,150, but it happens just that quickly. And here's the problem. The deal that's out there, everybody's got it, right? It's not like this is a Patriot exclusive deal. Everybody's got it out there in the country that deals with Heritage is who the company that has it. They're the largest gold wholesaler in the world. They got offices everywhere: Hong Kong, Switzerland. They got an office in France and England. They got 2 offices here in the U.S. One in Texas, one in San Francisco. These guys are massive, and they're I talk to them every day, and there's just not a lot of product out there right now. 3 lines are open. We got 3 lines open. These are the $20 Liberties. These are what they call VFs in the industry. Very fine. They're $2,150 at 800-951-0592. 2 lines now open. 2 lines still open. $2,150 at 800-951-0592. And Glenn, the prices are reflecting. They're seeing the move in gold here. Now you're seeing the move and what it costs now to get 20s and 10s and 5s and I just start thinking about, man, how hard is it going to be at $20,000 gold? And I'm going to be pitching you, hey, I got St. Gaudens, they're $21,000. You know what I'm saying? It blows my mind.
Yeah, you better break out that Zimbabwe money because we're just going to be adding zeros, right, Joe?
Right. That's you think about they don't even they want to get rid of the $100 bill, and it's just so hard to think about. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I want to remind everybody it's my first day back here in the office. Gold is on its way to Phoenix and to Colorado. It'll be big shipments are landing in both places tomorrow. Be ready. Jason's going to be calling you Colorado folks. We'll be calling the Phoenix folks. And we're on top of everything. Everything's been ordered. We're good to go. And remember what Eric said. You better have an ounce of gold for every year you've been alive. You better have it for you. You better have it for your wife. You better have it for your kids. Maybe it's your grandkids. Get ready. Get prepared. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up. A final segment here on this Wednesday. Gold's up $23. 1866 silver. Man, wow, just amazing. Well, it really isn't. I mean, this is what silver does. Silver, it'll underperform, overperform, but up another $1.40 this morning. The spot price is at $22.75. The July contract, which is there is no August contract, but the July contract, which you're sitting there, we're in July. They're always supposed to be the same, but they're not. In New York, silver's $22.93. In London, silver's $22.71. Don't ask me. Right, the same stuff that has been happening in gold's happening in silver. This is what happens when you got all those paper contracts. They've got paper contracts for silver. I can't even tell you the amount of silver contracts that are out there. More silver than that's been mined in the last 20 years worth of contracts. I mean, the delivery is such a small piece of it. Everyone, they just manipulate it. That's how they manipulate the price. But now they're having problems with deliveries, and just because of the COVID and all this, and refiners may be open, may not be open, and you get this disparity right now. So pick your poison, right? Is it $22.71? Is it $22.93? Either way, silver's up a lot, and it's still got a lot of room to go. Just to clarify, the silver quarters, because that's about the only silver we sold from last week, that is left. It's on its way to Phoenix and Colorado, but that left today. So the quarters will be in early next week. All the gold will be here both offices tomorrow, so be ready for that. And, of course, today's special, the VF20s. Listen, I know it's a lot, right? It's $21.50. Listen, you missed under $2,000. That's over. It's gone. It's not coming back. At least I don't think it could. I don't think so. I think that ship has sailed. And really, though, when you look at it, there's no doubt in my mind, 5 years from today, buying gold at $2,150, it'd be like stealing. I mean, that's because I really believe that's how high gold's going to be. I mean, how high do you think it's going to be when we're talking about a deficit nearing 50 trillion? Forget about 30 trillion, near 50 trillion. And at the same time, I'm telling you, the Social Security Trust Fund is broken. Could you imagine if the government decided to say, you know what, well, we only can pay 75%, so let's just pay 75%. The other thing they can do, they can raise the payroll tax. The same payroll tax the president wants to suspend. I guess we could raise it instead of 12.4%. I don't know, what would it be? What would it take to get there? 16, right? I don't, that's a rate. Make it 16%. Maybe it's got to be 20. I don't know. How does it work? How do you pay for it? That's why the dollar isn't doing so hot. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Glenn, thank you so much for all you've done for us. Buy those 20s, $2,150, 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Are we going to have a new all-time highs tomorrow? We'll have to wait and see.